So my story in terms of how I came to my current practice is a bit unusual. I spent my first 10 years at McCarthy Tétrault practicing lending law on the transactional side. And then in 2013, I took a leave of absence and did my master's in the U.S. in banking regulation. And at that point, I essentially pivoted my career and moved to the regulatory side. And I've been focusing on the regulatory side since, especially with a focus on fintech, which is an area that was starting to hit the U.S. when I was there, which I was exposed to before I came to Canada as a result of my studies. So I have a bit of a different background than most regulatory lawyers, having started out as a transactional lawyer. And I have also the mix of having that strong academic background. So I bring a depth and breadth as a result in terms of having very strong understanding of the policy rationale behind a lot of the regulation, which is really helpful when dealing with new technologies, for example. And as well, I have, from having experience on the transactional side, and as well, I did a secondment for one of the banks. I have, as a result, a lot of experience with practical advice and being able to respond in a way that is not academic. I certainly find the practice of law to be meaningful for me, especially given the work that I do. It's really quite close to policy and shaping policy because there's so much happening in this space, and it's great to really be involved in seeing the changes and the innovation, and at the same time thinking through what are the legal issues, what will be coming next, and how will the law affect and how will law be affected by that innovation. Teamwork to me is a very important aspect of practicing law, and I really learned that being a transactional lawyer when I started out, where our work was very much team-based, and brought that to my regulatory practice. And essentially we've built a team, a fintech team that spans offices and practice areas, and we find that working together as a group, we are able to look at these issues much more comprehensively and much more thoughtfully. And we're also seeing the national perspective, where innovation that's happening in Vancouver, for example, how that interacts with what's happening in Toronto. Law is very much different than some other practices in that technology is not really taken off in terms of what helpful tools we could really be using on the technology side in law. And that's really become obvious working with clients that are very much technologically focused on the fintech side, for example, including the traditional financial institutions and the learnings that they've done from new entrants in the space. And also very much seeing how that could impact law. There are definitely changes happening on the regulatory compliance side, incorporating technology that would very much be applicable to law as well. Everything from automated document production to the use of artificial intelligence in terms of research. I volunteered with kids on a learning to read program with therapy dogs. So I brought my dog, who's a wonderful dog, and worked together with the kids, who many of them had learning disabilities or anxiety about reading. And having an animal there with them that was calm was able to really reach the kids and make learning fun for them. And as a lawyer, I love to read, and it's really great to pass on that love to others as well.